we're driving back from the weekend at the races, and since we're in gridlock traffic pretty much all the way from Nevada until Barstow, we decided, why don't we just record all the conversations that we're having about the race? So obviously, you know, we were watching it on TransWorld, so we, AirD, Austin, myself, watched it all yesterday. It was pretty tight. We've been bench racing for like the last hour anyway, so we just figured
we've been bench racing since the last checkered flag, basically.
I mean, we were talking about match, you know, even then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you want to listen to three guys with kind of annoying voices like talk about moto, you're kind of in the right place. If you really don't, I mean, there's a bunch of other shows you can listen to.
Then bye.
But that's fine. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Let's
kick it off first. Did you think that was going to happen last night with Eli? Did you think Did you think he was going to be the boy to take it?
I mean, I figured he would win, but a millie, I was really surprised.
I thought he'd get like 2 out of the 3 wins.
I was thinking that too. Like that middle one's always going to be the hard one because you can come out really well,
right?
But then that second one is typically when things can get kind of weird.
Because that's kind of how it's played out in the past, like with Trey, right?
Trey was the third one.
See, and that's what I thought was going to get him.
Okay,
I thought the third one was going to get him because once you have the first 2 down, now you're thinking about the money. Now you're thinking about,
that's true.
Now you're thinking about this kid that they bring out who's also betting on you, who also could get $1 million, and you got the pressure of that too. And I'm sure he's not really thinking about that, but it's more the fact that the kids think about him. It's probably messing with his mind at least a little bit too, you know?
like he alluded to that in the press conference because, you know, right before that third one, they like throw the camera in his face and it's like, we did this to Trey and look what the hell happened.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ. But
that was kind of funny. They didn't even let him get on the starting line, and they're like, "Hey, let's talk about this right now.
We're gonna bust this out right now."
Yeah.
You know, you think that like when we get on the line and we feel like we're gonna throw up just at a local like TransWorld race or whatever, that it's bad. But
I know. Like, what does that feel like?
I mean,
what does that feel like?
I would think that when you've been doing this since you were like 9, 10,
yeah,
you would get used to it. And he had, like, the amount of money, like $1 million is probably really cool for Eli, but that's probably not
so
all that much.
With that said, though, with that said,
yeah,
our friend Zach Osborne, like no one gets more nervous than him on the starting line. It seems like, you know what I mean.
He's kind of getting past that now.
He's yeah. He definitely that's in the past. I should specify that's in the past. Sorry, Zach.
Yeah. Okay.
But that just goes to show you, seriously though, like the kind of stress that these guys, even without $1 million on the line.
AirD, if I'm coming up behind you and you're leading, are you moving over?
Absolutely.
All day.
All day long.
Especially because it doesn't matter for anything.
Right.
This isn't a championship or anything.
Right. Like, and would the overall have even been that much different if Joey had won?
No, he had that thing clinched the minute he got into third, really.
Right.
Because when Marvin bailed, Jason was making moves, but really wasn't in it. Yeah, it was at that point.
So at that point, it's like, why would you want to like, I guess, like, kind of fuck the other guy out of it?
And do you think that Monster's like really pissed? They're probably pumped.
Yeah, they're stoked.
They're stoked. Their guy won it at their event. Like, they're pumped.
Well, and here's the thing.
Gladly give their money away.
I mean, if you're Joey, you proved your point no matter what. Like, whether or not you pulled off or not, dude, you led that whole thing. Like, you came out. It's race 1. He didn't pull all 3 hole shots, but he was, like, right up there in all 3 of those races off the start. Like, this is a really good showing for what's coming in 2019, I think.
One thing to, like, make really clear about all that money, though, that's not, like, Feld and Monster paying it out. It's an insurance policy that they buy. They pay however much, and then this other company's going to pay all that off. Yeah. So it's not like Monster just dropped $1 million.
Yeah.
Like, they've dropped some money in the past.
For their own guy, yeah.
And they probably got like a 2-for-1 deal on that one dude wanted another $1 million. Like, the bundle.
the fan
like
guy,
the Costco
the
insurance
fan
package. Yeah.
Did we see how hyped he was on the stand, like grabbing on Eli and everything? Dude, that was funny.
I hope that guy made it out. Because
I mean,
we, like we said last night, we would be walking down the strip with that Happy Gilmore check under our arm.
Yeah.
Dude, I would call my parents and be like, hey man, we had a good time. I'll see you when I see you. And I might go off the reservation.
I don't think,
dude, that guy, that guy, it's all, his whole life is different now. Regardless
it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And like,
Do you think he blew like a gang of it last night? I know
How much money could you really blow?
I know they didn't give him $1 million last night. But do you think he kind of sent it last night with what he had in his account? Yeah, what does he tell him?
What do you tell your boss? Like, hey, dog.
What does he tell the wife? I wonder if the wife is with him or something.
There's no way.
Or
new
like,
wife.
New wife, yeah, he's got a couple wives now.
But, like, imagine that you have that happen and I'm going to go to Vegas and watch this race. I entered this contest, whatever. And then on Monday, you got to make that call like, yeah, I ain't coming.
Hey, man, I just won $1 million.
Yeah,
like, I ain't coming to clean them pipes. I ain't cleaning no goddamn toilets.
I know. That's pretty fucking cool. That's pretty fucking cool.
How long does that last, though? Really? Like, how long do you think that lasts? Because he could blow that really fast.
He could, but he could pull that out a little while, I think, you know?
But even if you don't just blow it all, like, you could, the normal person that makes like 50 grand a year or whatever, you could have a very comfortable lifestyle without going buck wild for the rest of your life off that money. So that's not that bad. But yeah, dude, I really hope that guy's still alive and doesn't have like a hardcore drug addiction or like hepatitis right now, because
he might have a face full of strippers right now.
Shout out Palomino. This is not gonna go well. Alright, the one thing that we always talk about, what was your favorite gear?
Okay, so like the first thing that popped in my head when you asked me that question is what we were talking about a minute ago, is just the amount of sea foam. Mm-hmm. Like in Sam Boyd Stadium right there. I felt like I was at the beach. There was so much sea foam from fly racing in there. I'm not saying it was ugly by any means. There was just a lot. I think it's cool. Those colors are cool. There was just a lot of it. That's all I'm saying.
There's a lot of it.
But your original question was,
what's your favorite
one? Favorite? I don't know.
I like Chad's kid. That camo.
That camo and the camo Fox stuff. That was pretty good. Who else looked?
The Stars kid was good.
Yeah.
With those boots, like the head to toe.
Yes. Yeah.
That was good.
There was another one.
Malcolm's all black.
Malcolm's look cool.
All black, like even all to the all black.
Yeah. I even told him at the end of the night, I'm like, that all black looks sick.
And with the red goggles.
Yeah, I like that. I like the helmet too. That helmet turned out pretty cool.
Up close too, I think Marv's kit was actually really good, especially the way it blended with his bike.
With that number and everything.
The number, the orange background, I really liked.
Hey,
I really liked that.
Yeah.
Even though it's the same thing as it was the last 2 years, Cooper's stuff looks sick on that KTM.
Dude, my man's kit is pretty. It's pretty dialed. Yeah, I really like his setup right now. I really like that.
Like he had 2 brand new painted bells.
Yeah.
In the pit area when I walked over there first thing in the morning, and I was like, dude, those are tight.
I just saw the one flat that he had for practice or for press day or something. Yeah.
You know what was those are like the old school, this is your first red.
Yeah.
So it's like
this is the standard one that you get. Yeah.
Like you'll work your way up to a custom one-off, but for this first go, we're just gonna give you the blocked out one.
Yeah.
I like that.
But even then though, that one's still
it's sick.
Really cool
I just
looking.
have Mad Mike Jones flashbacks.
God, I know. Of the barrel roll, right?
Yeah.
The attempted barrel
KODs
roll,
and
yeah. Shout out to Mike Jones.
Dude, I'm bummed that we didn't get to watch that Best Wit because we're so busy.
I know.
But I'm really pumped to watch this Colby Axel development because they're cool to each other. And these
kids are clearly feeding off each other right now. The two of them are clearly feeding off each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Each one is stepping each other up, and I think that's so badass.
It's so necessary.
It's absolutely necessary. And especially for the avenue that these kids have gone. They're not racers, they're not freestyle riders. They're this is legitimate free riding. This is free riding to me.
I like that they've made it big, so it wasn't just a 75-footer.
Right.
It was a full 120 dirt landing. That was tight.
My biggest thing though, it wasn't in the stadium, so no one got to. It feels like we didn't get to see it. I mean, we didn't get to see it because we were in the stadium, but
yeah.
After looking at that landing, I don't know where they could have put that though.
That thing was huge.
That was cool when they did it last year because it worked on the downside of that, or that jump the way that they worked it out. So that one was good. but there's no way they could have done it because...
But even then, last year, I remember the guys saying it was really small, like it was too close or something.
Yeah.
Like they just
And
kept OJing it or something, you know?
Yeah, they got a monster truck flip though, so there's that.
Hey man, that's money.
That
I can't hate on that.
It was funny though when it was like limping out of the stadium.
Yeah, he just flipped it and just bowed out.
But like smart on Phil.
Take
their
was
two biggest things into one place with
that's
like
true.
Monster.
Yeah, that's true.
Monster Jam. Like that was smart on their part.
There's generally not a lot of crossover like that either.
No, it's pretty rare, which is weird considering like how much that they've had in the past between like Deegan having a truck, Strana having a truck, like all these guys that have that crossover and all the sponsors are the same.
Someone finally just was like, "Oh, we should do that."
Now, like all that being said, I don't want like a tag team series where we have like quad wars in the middle. Like I'm good on that, but it's smart on them to like show what else they're doing because it's the same fan.
Right.
Like the fan that goes to Monster Jam, they're going to Anaheim.
They're generally going to go to They're generally going to go to Anaheim too. Yeah.
So, going into the racing a little bit more. Who surprised you? Like, not that we didn't. Surprise is like a tough word.
I already have my biggest surprise was and it's not a knock on him necessarily. It's just because it was his first time in the class. But Joey Savacci, like I was thoroughly impressed.
I think that
thoroughly impressed. Like you said, like the third race,
he had that
top to bottom. That thing was his. Like that was so cool. So, and what makes me so pumped about that though is because I know everyone had a lot of shit to say about him on the internet when they found out he signed to the team.
Everything
it was kind of like, all right, shut up.
Everything that he's done in the last month, he's just been hammered. When really, like, unnecessarily, like, hammered for the last, 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But, like, the just one deal.
The gear doesn't look bad at all.
No. And
not at all.
He's getting paid.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the most important
absolutely.
thing. There's a lot of guys that are out there that are not going to make that amount of money at any point in their career, let alone first year on a 450.
Right,
so, like,
Why wouldn't you
good
take
on him to get that? And it's there. Like, it's not like it's some no-name brand. Like, they've been around. Like, Just One is a big company.
And
it's not huge, but it's big.
Yeah. And he might be able to help develop the brand too, develop the products and stuff. It's not like
look at what
it wasn't ugly, so it's like that's generally what people are concerned about is if it's ugly. To me, it wasn't ugly.
It's clean.
It was pretty simple and clean. I can appreciate less is more.
Yeah. But for him, like right now, this 1 year deal, it's good. He needs that stuff because I think the last 2 years at PC where he was supposed to be the guy to get a title and carry all that weight, and it doesn't happen, and then everybody just goes in on him.
Who was your biggest surprise?
Joey, but you know who I was like really psyched for was JG. Like
too,
JG was in the mix in that last one.
Yeah, that was cool.
And like dude threw a heel clicker over the finish line.
And
that
was
for a guy
cool.
that like a couple. I mean, honestly, even right now has no idea what's going to happen.
Well, you're right, because it seemed like it was just last week that was kind of the deal. That's what it seemed like, I guess.
And like, good for him, because that bike looked like it had some time on it. He did really well, all things considered. Like, there's no denying that Josh is one of the better guys that's out there.
And it's like...
He just hasn't had the right brakes.
It's like when... And I don't even want to say it, but like when Josh Grant goes, that's like one of those guys that's like, fuck, man, it's like a Kevin Wyndham kind of left.
Yeah.
Because he's just so...
It's going to be like a void.
Yeah. It's just like...
It's going to be a void that people don't realize.
Right.
Until
like,
it's over.
Like, to me, Josh embodies like probably one of the most ideal riding techniques, like, in the sport. Like, the dude is just so like on point with how he can ride a dirt bike all the time.
I think
that's how Kevin was to me, and so that's how it would feel when JG leaves. But hopefully that's not going to be anytime soon, because I mean, last night he shouldn't leave if he was he was riding that good last night, dude.
I'll tell you, my biggest surprise, but also Joey, and I want to add to that and say just. He also rode really well, considering I saw him get roughed up a few times in some pretty, dirty passes.
Yeah, you're right.
Not like dirty, but, some guys put some moves on him for sure.
Yeah.
Kind of,
A little
pushed
bit
him out of the way.
extra. Yeah.
And he just kind of like held his composure, stuck with it,
Right.
and just kept going. But I also think the other guy that really surprised me was just Justin Barsha. Maybe not where he finished on the night, but just how he rode. Because last weekend, like, it did not go well for any of the Team USA guys.
Right.
That's just a fact.
Yeah.
And to come out and ride as good as he did, and also just, I mean, flat out be like as gnarly as he was. You know, jumping into the sand consistently
Yeah, that
in
was
those main
cool.
events and going that big every time. Like, that was just flat out cool, and I did not see it coming at all.
Watching him like hit corners and everything, you can totally tell like our guys are really Supercross focused, and not that it's a bad thing. Like,
Right.
That's where all of our emphasis
That's where they make
is.
the money. Yeah, that's
But-
where the money's at.
Yeah, he was looking good, and I'm sure that there'll be a lot more over these next few months as, you know, he has a real winner to prepare with the team
Yeah.
for next year, because, I mean,
This was
at a
so-
year
this-
ago, dude, there was...
Yeah, this was so last minute
Yeah.
last year.
Last year was, yeah. It's crazy to believe it was a year ago. It feels like 2.
Hey, what about the Super Minis?
Hold on, before we get to that, I think a lot of people are just going to, like, gloss over Tomac's last moto. Like, oh, yeah, dude, Joey moved. That dude went from 6th to 1st. in
Joey,
like, 3 laps.
Eli definitely was
Yeah.
freaking moving.
Dude,
even
the two
I
passes
think
on Freese and
even
Reed
if
in the same...
even if Joey didn't give him one of those, I firmly believe Joey was gonna get Eli was gonna get him anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
one more lap.
Dude, he
Are
was
we-
hauling ass. He was going so fucking fast.
Are we just so used to him doing that like it doesn't even, like it's just so normal that we don't even think to talk about it?
kind of, yeah,
Kind of.
but then when you see it, it's like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Like, you just like hit a switch and it's like a different person.
It was like he found clear, like, loam underneath
Absolutely.
the sand.
You
How
said
fast
it.
he was, like,
You said it last
torpedoing out.
night through the sand. Through the sand, you're like, it's like he just hit like a patch of concrete just going
And
through
just
that thing
checked
and
out.
just shredded through the sand.
Anytime that he touches sand, I mean, it just is mind-numbing to watch how fast he goes.
Yeah.
There were guys that were, like, really sending it, really big air off of things, launching into the sand and stuff like that. And Eli did it when he needed to. But
Jason
it's-
was sending it
It's
into
pretty
the
apparent,
sand.
though, that he's in that MC, like, stay low, just
Yes,
keep going.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Because he
Yeah.
doesn't air it out unnecessarily.
No.
You know, and the weird thing is watching those amateur classes and those super mini kids, they're not in that same thing. A lot of super mini kids are like throwing it up really high when they go off jumps.
Yeah.
They're not,
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids that are scrubbing, but it's big air in a lot of those
I
things.
think a lot of the Super Mini kids kind of have to do that though.
Yeah.
Just being so underpowered. But let's talk about the Super Minis though.
Dude, Volan's kid.
For real.
Volan's
Dude,
kid
Max was shredding.
Yeah.
Shredding. When he was that first or second practice when he first did that Dragon's Back?
That first time practice.
When he did that Dragon's Back, did you hear the press box? Like everyone
That was like an
everyone was
audible
like,
gasp.
"Oh!" That was
And then
so
he
cool that he did that.
ate it off.
But yeah, then he yarded himself off it.
But not bad.
I'm glad he was fine.
He still
Obviously,
did
I'm
it
glad
later.
he didn't get hurt. Yeah, he obviously made a good night out of it. But
Poor Ryder D.
Ryder D had a tough night. Yoder had a tough night.
Just bad starts, honestly. I think
I
that was
know.
a lot of it.
And I heard from a lot of the riders it was just kind of hard to pass because there wasn't a lot of weren't a lot of things that just separated guys on the track,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, that sand, that was rough for those
That was
super
pretty
minis.
intense for those super
A
mini
couple of
to
those
get through
kids
that
were
sand.
talking about just how hard it was to get through that. Like,
Yoder said
period.
Yoder said the one sand section felt like it was just powdered sugar. Like just trying to blast through powdered sugar. It was like impossible.
With all that said, though, that was a much better track for those
For
kids.
them, for those kids,
Yeah.
yeah, because like
we've
there,
seen some yards.
yeah, there was one crash I think in the class.
Oh,
There was that
There
one
was
at
the
backside.
that's gonna happen if the track is flat with no jumps.
Yeah.
You know that happens,
Mhm.
but I understand how they what
Yeah.
they were doing with the track, but yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
Because, like, think about years past.
that should be the first thing to keep in mind. Like, let's keep everyone safe.
like
first.
years past, that super mini class was like a yard.
Dude,
sale.
yeah, I know. Like they're trying to do the triples and they're coming up short on them, and other kids are like landing on them, and
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty cool to see how like race-minded these kids are. You know, like
Dude,
it's not
those
just
kids
hitting it.
Yeah.
Like they know the line selection and stuff to go through.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
I'm sure that
even
people
technique-wise too. Even technique, watching them, it's like, dude, how do you know how to do that?
because I mean, if you really think about it, that's stuff that a lot of people don't learn until much later on.
Right.
And
right.
I mean, if you're riding every day, like you should know that. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
But
Nonetheless, it's still impressive as hell to see a teenager
just crush
do
like
some
that.
stuff that pros are capable of doing, you know?
and some don't.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And then, the Amateur All-Stars.
Dude, that first one was
Dude,
so good.
Joe Shimoda.
I'm pumped for Joe just in the fact that like
I'm stoked, yeah.
he never really seemed rattled in that first one.
Right.
Like, it was close.
Yeah,
but he
yeah,
didn't, like freak out.
I didn't see him like make any huge mistakes under pressure or anything like that from Hammaker, so that was cool. Like he said in How Was Your Weekend? He said, I knew consistency is the key at this race. So, like, the man pulled it off.
And
That's
then
what he did.
for Hammaker, like he was the faster of the two.
Hammaker was moving.
And
Moving.
another lap in that first one, and he'd have won that. I think. I
Maybe.
think that's pretty fair.
Maybe.
And then in that second one, another lap, and he'd have made that pass if he didn't crash. But like,
But that's not
what
how
happened.
that's not how racing works. You know, it's not. You know, so.
But yeah, he definitely.
That was he
had a
was
super
he was
skill.
hauling.
Dude, it's funny to hear how little these kids really ride those style tracks. Like Joe said, he rode the Milestone track and the Geico track like a few times.
Just a couple weeks. Yeah, they only have a couple weeks to ride those. Like that time that when me and or when Chase and I went up there to film for our movie Fast, I think that was Joe's first day up there. That was like
and I mean,
3 weeks
that's a
ago.
quick, like learning. That's
Yeah,
a really quick learning
like he
curve.
was doing gnarly sections and stuff too. It was pretty cool. He just picks that stuff up quickly. He's just such like a technically based rider. He's just able to do stuff so much easier. I think. I don't know.
You know, and when we watch like Loretta's and some of those bigger amateur races, it's typically the kids that are in the B class that are kind of the faster of the entire group.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the same thing last night. Like Drake was ripping, Swole, like Jaleel
Right.
was going really, really
Dude,
well.
yeah, he was hauling ass too.
Man, what about that turnaround with Drake from the first to the second race?
Yeah.
I mean, just
Dude,
night
yeah,
and day.
I know. That was impressive, that second one.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
I didn't see. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, dude.
I didn't see the start in the first one super well, like in my memory, but I think he got buried a little bit in that first one. And that's what held him back.
I think so too. Because I saw him like make a couple moves early on in the first one,
Yeah.
but then everyone starts like separating, so it's harder to catch everyone, you know.
But it's like, it was not the greatest track for what they've had. Like, layout-wise, it was pretty mellow.
Right.
But it was pretty single file, especially in the back section. You know, you launch that stage up and you do those chicanes. And like that big berm was there, but no one went more than 5 feet away from the inside tough block.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
But like, there's nowhere to really make a pass. You have to.
Not really. You kind of have to wait till like a big bowl turn or something. It seemed like. But that little back section. Do you remember when the Super Mini during one of the Super Mini races, Varice was back there going back and forth with who's?
Was it the one?
I feel like it was.
Yeah, maybe it was Max.
And the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that was such good racing. Those kids going back and forth like that. They exchanged first like 4 times, I think.
Well, and then even
That was
when,
cool.
Even when they got into the center and they started setting up the passes,
Yeah.
it wasn't panicked. It was like, okay, I'll try to get him here. And if
Yes,
I don't get him here,
yes.
I'll wait until
Right,
this
right.
other spot.
They were being like, you can see much more patience.
Yeah.
This is always like a good race. I think it's my favorite one of the off season.
It's definitely my
minus
favorite.
the Nations. The
It's
Nations,
definitely
like,
one of my favorites in the off season for sure.
But it's cool to see how many things are kind of coming together now, because when we get in those summer months and everybody starts scrambling for what they're going to do next year, we learned a lot of stuff that's going to happen for 19 through the paddock. Like Hep Suzuki's going to crush. That's for a second year team. They have 2 for sure really good guys in Alex Ray and in Adam Tignap.
Yep.
And that's good for those guys, because after I mean, they might not have, the biggest results, but they definitely have the appeal that a team needs to get sponsors,
absolutely,
to get people
absolutely,
over there and things like that. Like, regardless of how they finish, those guys are going to be talked about. And that's cool for them to finally not have to worry about putting the details together all winter and wondering what's going to happen, like, Adam having to deal with being a privateer the whole time.
And that's kind of the same deal for Malcolm now.
Yeah.
I think last night was like kind of a pretty good indication for next year. I mean, like even like the off-season races that he's done, the one or two so far, like he's done obviously.
He won,
he's been the guy. So
and the next two are the two big ones to watch him at.
Yeah, so like I think that's a pretty good okay, maybe Malcolm really is going to be on MCR.
I would think that like at this point, even though nothing's done, it would have to be a big. Something big would have to happen for him not to stay on that team through 19.
Right.
And then Chad not to stay on JGR through 19.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just Supercross.
Yeah, it looks pretty like set where things are right now with those two.
Like even on all of that stuff, Chad getting that spot's not going to be results based. That's going to be based on how much. Like he can totally still put it down when he needs to, but that's just because it's Chad. Like of course Chad's going to get it.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen for him to come together. And it seems like other little details through the pits are getting pretty worked out, like that Gas Monkey AJE team.
Yeah. There's so much more legitimacy to that. Not that it was illegitimate before by any means, but
like second year team.
But second year team, rad,
big money
rad.
sponsor.
That's cool.
And it's cool because it's not within our bubble. You know what I mean?
Right,
that
it's
Gas
outside
Monkey
of
thing,
motorcycles. Yeah.
And that Gas Monkey stuff. I mean, that's huge.
And people can relate to both of those because generally someone that likes motorcycle racing is kind of gonna be like some sort of a gearhead. You know what I mean?
They're gonna watch that show.
They're gonna. I love that damn show. I think it's cool.
It's cool.
Oh yeah, I love that show.
I don't remember so much.
It's pretty funny.
It's just cool to see certain things that are happening. Like even Cycle Trader knows pretty much what they're going to do for next year.
Yeah.
Husky's figured out what they're going to do. They're still trying to figure out some other pieces. Like KTM's set now. I think there's a lot of guys that are going to be on the outside looking in, but that's always the case. Unfortunately, but for the guys that have the opportunities right now, good because they've never had them before.
Right? Yeah.
Very few and far between.
Yeah.
But how about Cooper? We got some shit on Friday because we said he looked quick and comfortable.
That's because he did.
And
he
are you you can't tell me anyone that has two eyes that was there can't tell me that guy looked slow or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't think the results are going to show it, but
and that's fine. It was his first time on the bike. Damn, first time lining up. He's just I think he's going to be. I think Cooper is going to be a heavy hitter next year. I thoroughly believe that.
Especially, when he gets this whole off-season to work towards it. I mean, we've got still 2.5 months, almost 3 months until Anaheim 1. That's a lot of time to get even quicker and more comfortable on that bike.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
It's going to be good. I think it's going to be good. But he looked good last night, even with the issues that he had during the races.
Yeah. 7 days on that thing. 7 total rides.
That's so cool, dude.
And it's funny.
He should be stoked for himself.
Yeah.
It's funny because people really don't think that that's the case, but it genuinely is. That's the time he's had. How do we break up this RV thing?
I just I wish he was RV2 last night instead of 2RV.
Yeah.
That's just my little thing. It's stupid, but
that's your takeaway.
That was just my little. But besides that nonsense, I was stoked to see Ryan out there racing. That was cool. It was and he seemed so excited about it earlier in the day.
Yeah.
You know that obviously wasn't the same Ryan Villapoto from 5 years ago, and that's not a knock or anything, but you can just tell he was just having it was just nice and relaxed.
Yeah.
Nice and relaxed. It was cool to see that.
And the fans received it really well too.
That was the biggest thing going into the weekend.
Him and Barsha had the biggest autograph line in the pits.
Yeah.
By far. That thing was a mile long.
And I like the bike too.
Yeah.
It's not a race bike.
No, yeah.
That's
right.
the bike that he is.
That's the thing that he's been putting miles on all year or something, you know?
And then we had a little bit, I think it was a piston, a cam,
right,
an exhaust, and some suspension. I mean, those are important things, but it's not the full like factory bikes that he was running back in the day. It was, you know what the coolest thing about all of that stuff to me is though, like watching other forms of racing. Guys might retire, like in NASCAR or Formula One or whatever, but then they come back and they'll do like 1 or 2 races every now and then. Like, I mean, Schumacher retired from F1 back in the day and then came back.
Yep.
And maybe he wasn't as good as he was, but it was cool to see Schumacher.
It was just cool. It was just cool. Yeah, MC did it. It was just cool to have him back.
It's just cool to have him back because
that's who they are.
It's just who they are. And like, what else are they really gonna go do? Like, how much retirement can you really enjoy?
Well, it's what they've done their whole
30
life.
years
That's
old?
what they've done their entire life. So it's like it's weird to not do something all of a sudden.
It'll be interesting to see how RV like goes from here.
It's cool because he seems like he's what's next for him, OzX, and then.
And kind of think.
Oh, is that it? Or
yeah,
I thought he said he had another one, but even then, I don't know. It kind of seems like I feel like there's going to be a lot more after that. I really feel like he's not just going to like. Yeah, like these two and I'm done. Like
even
I don't know.
If he just like did more 125 races,
right?
Or just
Yeah,
did
yeah,
more
yeah.
video projects or something,
Stuff like that. Yeah.
I don't think that we would ever. You would never see another retired racer. Well, I mean, really pull that much of an active riding personality out again.
Right.
They're still around. Like Ricky's around and does his thing, does a lot. MC does a lot.
Yeah.
But like RV's still young enough that he can dice it up if he got paid enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he does.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think a full-time comeback would ever happen, but it'd be cool
No, I
to
don't.
see,
I don't think that either. Yeah.
It'd be cool to see him really take more control of this ambassador position that he's in.
I think he's done such a good job at it so far too.
Yeah.
He's just the fact that like we could see him during the week at the track just riding out on his own. He's just out there riding just cause he felt like going riding that day. It's just cool because that was certainly not the case right after he retired. So it's kind of cool to have. It's just kind of cool to see a more relaxed Ryan Villapoto now.
It's rad because he doesn't just get on the YZ450F. Like, he doesn't just go like ride that one bike. Like, he rides the 125.
Yeah.
We have the test coming up with him on pretty much every full size bike in their lineup that races motocross. Like, it's cool just to see him really like fully embrace the role.
We kind of were talking about this earlier, but do you think that if this Ryan was around 5 years ago, Ryan still races?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do because there was the outside looking in perspective. The fun was lost for him back then, and it's just that fun has just kind of been like put back into the whole deal for him now. And I think so. I don't know if he'd be racing currently right now, but maybe a year or two longer at least.
But. Because he wouldn't be able to sustain the training and do all that if it was this run. I mean, those two things wouldn't have meshed together, I don't feel like, so much.
I mean, I feel like you could ride and train enough to, like, have fun.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you're not in, like, peak physical condition, but you're definitely, especially at that level,
you're still a fit athlete,
still pretty fit, that you could do what you needed to do and get by. And not saying that, like, it has to be so gnarly all the time, but you could do enough to, like, maintain and make a little bit more money.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I think that depending on how this next season goes, we might see a trend that kind of turns that way. Because Jason, like, manages to not be just a full robot that just trains all the time.
Adam Cianciarulo.
And Adam's the same way.
Kenny is the same way as well.
Like, guys have fun, and I think that once we see people that are able to make a balance between the, like, MC, Emig, like, 90s era to, like, the RC
era,
just crush it out era.
Yeah.
If there's a fine balance between those two where you can get your stuff done but still have a normal life, I think that's going to make everybody's careers a little bit more enjoyable and sustaining.
I mean, we're only a week away from what happened last weekend with Nations, and pretty much, at least from what I can gather talking to them and being around them, they're all on a program that's very well balanced as far as training, but not training too hard, eating healthy, but not eating too healthy. I mean,
Yeah, like the next
they're
couple
not-
weeks are when it gets serious.
Yeah, but, you know, to be fair, like, they're doing very well over there, and I don't know that they're pushing it as hard as some guys are pushing it in our sport and still struggling.
Well, the biggest, like, you mean by the GPs?
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
on the GP thing, the biggest would be the fact that the tracks that they ride are brutal. Like,
That's true,
they're
too.
they're nothing like what we have here. It's not like there's a guy that redoes the track fairly often or does all these things. Like,
Yeah.
some of those circuits over there are pretty hammered, and you're always in the mud or the rain or the sand or something in Belgium and Holland. And that's a lot that goes to it, but at the same time, we're just so ingrained in this program right now that it would take like a full 180 for people to change, and I don't see that happening anytime soon.
But it's slowly kind of
Well,
doing that, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like as far as a riding style change goes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
kind of everything.
I guess I just mean, you know, they're not burning themselves up in the humidity doing
Yeah.
really, really long bike rides and eating salad
Yeah.
like all the time, you know.
It'll be interesting to see how these next few off-season weeks go, because this is when everybody kind of goes reclusive and just grinds out.
Yeah, boot camp.
So like we won't see any of that, but we'll hear what happens, and then we'll know come the first part of December kind of what the buzz is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that next year could be solid. Like it should be now that Chen's back, Eli's good.
Yeah.
Marvin's good,
Right.
Jason's good. Like everyone's
Everyone's
coming
there,
into this
yeah.
point is
Everyone's
like at
there.
their peak right now.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be
One guy.
this guy's like still
Yeah.
rebuilding or
Right.
whatever. What was like your biggest takeaway from the weekend as a whole?
Fun factor?
That's true.
Like fun factor? Is that what we're talking about?
No, I mean like as far
From
as
the racing and stuff?
like just like what did you see that you thought was gonna make the biggest impact going forward? Like we'll be at some round next Supercross season and think like, oh, we saw this happen in Vegas. We kind of should have expected this.
Mellower tracks? Do you think that'll catch on?
I think it should.
I think it should too, because
But then
I
again,
mean, not
I don't know.
necessarily mellower, but slower. I guess I don't know.
I don't know. It's like because that's a big debate.
I know it really is. It really is. I don't know.
I think that
What was
it's
yours?
Be,
Let's hear yours. What was yours?
I mean, granted, it wasn't a full field there.
Right.
Honda didn't have anybody there.
Right.
There was a lot of guys missing.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people that don't make the main event. Any
Dude,
other
I
one.
know.
Yeah.
There's so
There's gonna
many
be a
people
lot.
in that 450 class now.
Regardless of if they're hurt or not,
Right.
there's going to be 30 dudes that should be on the gate, and a couple of them
Yeah.
are going to make it.
Yeah.
One way or another.
I know. It's crazy.
And it's going to be weird because it could be a really solid veteran guy that just has like an off night or something.
Right.
Or it could be like some rookie guy coming
Or
in.
the new kid, like AP. It could be everyone from AP to Chad Reed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's seriously.
Yeah. And then mix in the fact that there's guys that won't have support that they need to get even to that point.
Right.
In their, in their program. It'll be a lot to dissect between now and then because, I mean, imagine if you had to come up with like no order of where they're going to finish, but the 22 riders that are going to make the main event at Anaheim.
Right. I know that. I would have a hard time piecing that list together.
I mean, there's some obvious people, but then once you get past,
but
the top 10,
once you get past the top 5, it's like, okay, how's this order gonna go now?
Yeah.
Like everyone's so fast and so close, and like, dude, Dean Wilson doesn't have a factory ride right now. Like that's crazy to me. There's a couple guys like that actually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not just Dino, and that just goes along with what you're saying. Like, there's not enough space out there. Essentially, just that's what it seems like.
See, and I've thought about this. I don't know if it's that there's not enough space or there's too many guys. Because, like in F1 and in MotoGP, there's only so many spaces. And there's not a ton of dudes trying to get to that level. Like either you buy your way in for F1 with like a pretty good money deal to like get on a team, or you're talented enough, and then in MotoGP you're just talented enough where you bring money to it. Whereas here, there's so many guys that can just show up and race on their own.
Right.
And you can't do that in other sports. And
Right,
that's where
yeah,
it
yeah.
really gets weird, because you bring in so many factors and variables that other motorsports don't deal with. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
It's not like just some
Definitely.
guy is going to show up at, you know,
with $1 million car out of nowhere. Yeah,
at
yeah.
Phillip Island
Definitely,
or
yeah.
Mugello or something like that.
Definitely.
Yeah. It sucks like that we don't see a lot of 250 guys at that race, but Jordan
Yeah.
Smith, like, I like that Jordan holds his own on a 450.
Dude,
that could be
right?
a guy that
Right?
really surprises guys when he does make the 450 jump.
There's gonna be, I think there's gonna be several of those.
Mhm.
You know, next year there's gonna be and not even just next year, but in the future, there's just guys that I can tell they're just gonna shred on a 450. You know what I mean? They're just seems like they're just kind of waiting for that. Not like they're waiting, but that's gonna be their time, I guess.
And it's got to be pretty hard in a 250 deal, because there's so many guys,
Yeah.
and power is such a difference. Like, if your bike's a little off compared to somebody
Yeah,
else's,
yeah, absolutely.
it's already over.
You can run a stock 450 at
For the most part,
Supercross.
it'd be fine.
You know,
Yeah.
motor-wise, I mean, yeah.
I think that was a similar takeaway I had. Is it's crazy to look at the running order and realize that there's guys that are really notable that are actually way back.
Yeah, that are
running
in
order
like
at
that
times,
are in
and you're
like 12th or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, over the last few years, you've gotten really used to that guy being top 10 or top 5, and now they're running, you know, 10 to 15, but they're still riding just as good. It's just there's that many guys, and
It's just been up that year. You
and
know
the
what
other
I mean?
thing is to watch. You know, we've all heard that the start's important a million times, and it's, you know, it's as cliche as it gets in the sport. But, you know, it's crazy to see that just a guy getting separated on the first lap can make
Might
all
be
the
kinda
difference.
loud.
And like, it doesn't matter how fast he really is. There comes a point where he's just not going to make it any further in the running order, no matter
Right.
how good he is.
Right.
You know, and it's wild to watch that play out, especially when you have those 3 main events where you can see, you know, from one to another, it can completely change.
Yeah. And it really shows how you have to be consistent all the way across the board in all 3 races, because there's going to be Triple Crowns again next year.
Yeah.
You know, and those are pretty big as far as the riders' overall championship can go, regardless of if they're going to win or if they're going to be battling for like a spot in the top 10 or top 15. But like one bad moto can ruin the whole night, and then
Absolutely,
like in
yeah.
turn ruin the whole championship.
Yes.
I kind of like that we're trying new things. Like,
I do
it's
too.
cool that
I do
Monster
too.
Cup always. There wasn't anything big this year that I was like, oh, they're testing that because they're going to implement it in the future, like we saw in the past with like the metal grids or like time
Right,
races
right.
or like a multiple race format. But I think that race definitely has a purpose as like a testing ground, but it's kind of already falling into that U.S. Open. Do we gotta go?
Yeah.
Is anybody gonna go have fun? Does
Yeah.
it mean anything? Like, turnout was pretty good as far as spectators go, and I'm sure that a lot of people watched. And looking at like social media engagement, you know, from our numbers to like other websites and things like that, there's a lot of talk about that race. It just doesn't seem like a lot of people go to it.
Yeah.
You know, and then even teams now don't want to have to do it because it's already a long enough year as it is. Why are you going to go fork over more money to go set
Right.
Vegas again?
So many people are invested in the next year already, and you don't want to get hurt. You know, you don't want to risk that.
Like, it's
I get it.
they're gonna have to figure out how that race can be a little more influential into things if they want the same turnout, but at the same time they don't want to make it a necessary thing because it's just gonna piss everybody off.
I do think it helps that they've paid out $1 million twice in a row now.
Yeah,
Because that's a little extra, like, hey,
It's a little more incentive to line
you know,
up. Yeah.
there was a while there where it wasn't happening after Villapoto did it. And
Yeah.
it was like, can anybody pull this off? And now it's happened twice in a row. And I think if you're a guy that has a legitimate shot at that and you sat it out, like maybe next year you want to go because you're actually seeing that this can work out.
but like, you know what really sucks about all of this? Like, they gave out a grip of money last night. That shit is not going to be on ESPN. That sucks.
Yeah,
like if the NFL or the NBA did that, where one guy won $1 million and some dude in the crowd, it would be everywhere. That guy would be on the Today Show Monday morning, and we're going to get a blip. And that's not. I don't know where the answer is in that. Like, who needs to address that more?
I think that just goes with this sport in general, period. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a basketball player breaks their leg, and it's like...
And it's everywhere.
And it's, like, heard around the world, and people die doing this all year long, and that's... You don't need... That's not even in, like, a local newspaper or something, you know? It's kind of crazy.
And, like, Felt does a lot of things that I know is their attempt to, like, get into that. And there's other things, too, that I'm like, what the fuck? But I see their intention. I just don't think that the execution is excellent.
Right.
And, you know, I'm like, just yelling into the wind there sometimes. But the fact that, like, you know, they do try, I just don't think that people are, like, grabbing it. You know what I mean? I don't think, like, the mainstream is grabbing it the same way that they should. Because... Dude, Feld is putting it out there. It's not like they're not trying.
I know.
It's just not landing.
It's not sinking in.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, it's really strange because this should be talked about all week. Like, think about in another sport if someone just let them have a win like that. Like, did the full good of, like, the common team, of, like, the whole team.
Right.
And it's not going to get talked about anywhere. Like, that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And I know people are, like, super pissed about it, but that would be cool to have a debate because in cycling, like, there are guys that it's your job just to make sure that this one guy gets to the front.
Right.
You know, in F1, guys pull over all the time if their other teammate is on a faster lap. It happens all the time. And the fact that it gets played, I mean, it gets talked about, but why we think that this is just such a foreign concept. Like, we still bitch about Bob Hanna getting a pit board. And that was before all three of us, our total age,
I wasn't alive.
Like, I think my dad was, like, 10.
Yeah.
You know, and, like, we're still so caught up in, like, can you believe they do that shit? It's like, yeah, dude, it's a fucking business.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
There's so much more to this stuff than people think. It's not just like, the gate drops and this is what it is. Like, it's a full business on every level.
There's millions of dollars
and
out there.
And it's way more than just, like, racing, sipping energy drinks, signing checks. Like, there's a lot that goes into this for these teams, and every little thing matters. And I think that some people are realizing that, but others aren't. And I think that's what keeps us so small. We just think that everything within the sport happens in those 10 laps between the gate drop and the checkered flag.
Right. It's not the case.
It's not the case. Going back to, like, talking about things improving, it's cool to see some new things come about. Like, I think we're going to see quite a few new sponsors in the pit area next year. It sucks that some are going to leave.
Yeah.
I know a couple teams that might not even be around just because they aren't getting the sponsorship money that they need, but other ones that are really putting together a good package are going to be there. And it's cool to see how they're going out of just that small circle.
Yeah.
You know, like, they're going into automotive
right,
spaces.
Like you said, with Gas Monkey and stuff. And then HEP, like you said earlier as well, like, they're dead serious this year, too. Like, that's pretty cool.
And
it's nice to see little startup teams, like, actually
get what they
are trying. Like, kind of thriving, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be some trucks that aren't in the pit area next year.
Right.
You know, but that's always going to happen, but there will be some new stuff that's there to kind of keep that space. You know, Honda and the factories will always be there, but those small outlier teams that aren't even satellite teams, those independents, they'll be gone, but they'll be replaced by new ones or growing
I think
ones.
that's just kind of the nature of it, though.
Yeah.
Of this, though. I think that's just, you know, maybe not the same volume, but I think that's just kind of how it's been going forever.
The thing that's exciting is I think some of the teams that we're looking at having come in next year, with the sponsors that they're pulling in, you know, it shows hope that they might be able to put a little bit more of a foothold in it than maybe some of the prior teams.
Like they kind of learned a little.
Yeah, you know? I mean, it'll depend heavily, I think, on how they manage everything and how they're able to maintain those relationships. But I mean, the fact that they're bringing people in is, I mean, it's a good sign no matter what.
Yeah. I have some reservations sometimes because I think that considering how big this sport is, and I mean, I don't know the exact answer, but it should be bigger than what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It should have way more money.
Like the things that these guys do are gnarly.
Like if we stop at a gas station right now, what's going to happen? We're going to walk inside. We're going to get bombarded with energy drink logos, and thank God, because it's not. We might as well race in that fucking desert over there.
The desert, yeah, no.
But like, we see Jason, we see Villapoto, we see MC, we see all these guys on these billboards. Like, we're not the only ones that see that. There's a lot of people that are just into other things and regardless of if they want to see it or not, they have to see a motorcycle at some point.
Right.
Like, how come it's not more prevalent? Like in those AMPM for us in California.
Oh yeah.
Has those Rockstar commercials.
Yeah.
With, a car driver. Why is that not Jason? Why is Jason not talking to that big O snack monster?
Or trying to get like a Chipotle deal, right?
Dude, like dude, the amount of times, like the amount of exposure that riders give Chipotle.
I know. I know.
Gift cards.
That's why I said that.
Dude.
That's like
who at Chipotle is not like, yeah, dude, we will cater everybody's thing if you run a sticker. Like Buca de Beppo is smart enough for Geico and for
exactly.
Like, how hard is that to go to another team? It's all out there. It's all there. It's not like we're trying to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
And most of those companies are owned by the same damn company as each other anyway. It's one company that owns 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're all under the same umbrella. Like, there's a lot of money being left on the table, and I just wonder how we, as an industry, go get that, because it's there for the taking. We're the demographic that they want. Like, people give motocross riders shit like we're hillbillies. You have to have money to buy a bike or to be involved in this at all. Even if you have like a clapped out 2-stroke, you had to have money to go get it and go do all these things. It's not a $30 catcher's mitt.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't just pick up a baseball bat, glove, a Target or something.
There is money there to be spent, from advertisers and then people in the consumer level going back to recoup that. Dude, think about how many people just started shopping at Target because of Dunge.
With those gloves, yeah.
And that was the smallest thing. Like, that stuff should be such a no-brainer. And I really, I set up a lot of nights thinking, how can we copy that again? Like, not make it to where we're just doing the same thing over and over, but there's a lot of little plays that could end up bringing a lot of big money in.
Yeah.
And it sucks that there's some disconnect between the two worlds that's not being there, because it should be there. All the conduit is there from all these agencies that represent athletes in other sports that have those same deals. And I know that there's a lot of agents out there that are doing a really good job to close that gap, but I would really like to know what happens in those meetings where they're like, they give a pitch and someone just goes, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. Like, how could you sell someone on a sport that has like a pretty well-off financial thing, has a huge social following, has a live TV package that's already in place, has sponsorship deals at every major stadium around the country, young, well-known athletes within their circle, and we're just like, yeah, dude, we don't want to spend your money with you guys. Like, where is that disconnect?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
We forgot to talk about the KTM Juniors.
Oh, dude. The Way Dynasty.
Little
continues.
Vincent Way. The legacy continues.
The prodigy.
Yeah.
The legacy continues. That was cool.
Yeah.
That kid that got second, though, not to just, think Vincent's, the only cool kid.
Right.
That kid that got second was ripping, too.
Those top 3 kids were kind of moving, weren't they?
They had a pretty good battle.
Right? I think they're all kind of moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool, though. That was cool just to see little Vincent up there again.
I guess Vincent, got a KTM 50 out of that deal.
He won a bike or something?
Bike, right.
Really?
But, Nick
That's
had a
cool.
Cobra rep.
Yeah, you're right.
Nick seeing dollar signs.
Yeah.
Nick's like, yep.
How can I sell this thing? How much can I get for this thing right now?
Oh, man. Something else.
I respect it, Nick Way. I respect it.
Something else Monster Cup related that I wanted to bring up. This year, the Joker lane really...
That was kind of disappointing.
It kind of didn't play a factor into things much at all. And I don't know if that's a symptom of the way that the Joker Lane was set up this year,
Right.
or if these guys have just gotten really used to it, and they're not missing it anymore. And they all seem to have a pretty good strategy of like taking it right at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I think as far as like when you should take it, I think a lot of those guys, I think a lot of them have like kind of like dialed that in.
Yeah.
But I think like, it depends on like the actual layout of the Joker Lane. Like last night's was really fast. Like you just do that little double through the tunnel and you're just jamming down that straight again. But like, you know, in the past it's been like a couple like sand or like a little rhythm or something like that, you know.
I mean,
and it's even then it seemed like it like went out of the way a little more, and then there was like more time for you to.
It totally needs to be a shortcut, I think, because that like makes it cool. Like
which was last year.
Yeah, last year.
Was there a shortcut last year like that?
You can cut off like a couple seconds off your lap time, and that was cool because, like, of course you're gonna take that.
Right, yeah. And especially if you're in the lead or something, you're going to, like, And
it makes it closer because then at some point, like, the strategy of it goes kind of more wide open because there really seems to be only, like, two trains of thought with the Joker Lane. If you get a bad start or you crash in the first few laps or you have some kind of issue, you just bust out early and then spend the rest of the race just going off the rest of the normal track and then, like, trying to close ground. Or you get out front early, or you're in a battle, and then you just wait until the end because you know the other guy's going to take it at the end.
Yeah.
So either you solidify yourself or just know he's taking it next lap too, so I'm going to take it then too, and then we're just stay that same thing. But all that said, like, I don't want to see that thing at every Supercross.
I'm not. It's like a one time a year. That's cool.
Like, it's cool. We talk about like how we wish that motocross and supercross was like other sports, but it's cool that we can get creative like that, and it's not
with the
like it's not
with
that
the
it
track
just takes all this momentum, or it's like an insult to the legacy of the sport, or whatever. Because they're not going to do that in other sports. Like NASCAR is not going to be like, all right, now this lap you got to do a figure eight.
The track's different now.
Yeah, for one lap it's different.
No way.
I think probably like one of my favorite parts of the track though, and it's kind of a bummer we could barely see it, was the roller in the back.
That big single.
When everyone was just sending it off that was cool to see that.
Yeah.
But
dude, when I talked to Sabachi last night, I was like, how you feel? He's like, my wrist.
Like when he smacked his did he hit his head on his I thought he did. He whacked his head. Did he look back and then turn and then do that? Is that I don't remember what happened.
I really
that looked like it hurt though, yeah.
I want to see the lip pro data, all that kind of stuff to see like, is it better to send that thing or try and like scrub it out? Because it's really hard to tell visually which one's actually fast.
And the same could be said.
Send that shit.
But the same could be said for the
sand.
The ski jump into the sand right after that, because that would like, I think Anderson and Barsha were like the only two consistently that I think I saw doing it like every lap. Like
I kind of feel like
jumping
Marvin
really
started
far
that in the first one. I feel like Marvin was like the first guy I really noticed.
They started doing it in practice too. Because if you did the normal line, you just landed in that rough pocket, and then you killed all your momentum.
Yeah.
You jumped it a little further, like, it was sketchier, but you're
not landing in such a hole. You're not landing in such a hole.
You know, but as impressive as the wall jump one was, the other one that was really crazy was the ski jump on the opposite side of the track from where we were. Because they would, go in, I think it was like a triple.
Some of them would like three, and like just jump out somehow. I think that was pretty cool seeing them like really three through that.
Really fast.
Yeah. There was a couple bikes last night that like just looked fast as hell.
Yeah.
You know, like you could just watch the dude on it, and it's just like, damn, that thing is really, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, considering we just are kind of scatterbrained, and I think that like going to have to pretty tough melt down, but
probably
regardless, there was a lot of little things that like we'll put it in Kick and we'll write about it this week and stuff like that. There's a lot of little stories that we gotta touch on, so we don't like gloss over. Like Benny not racing. Like, I think a lot of people were like, whoa, where's he at? But yeah, like, his knee being busted open.
My man blowing out Staples.
And then Baggett was like right there, but I don't remember a lot.
Can I just say that I liked their kit?
That white.
Their setup was pretty dialed. I like that.
I like that teams are doing a little bit more white. Like Cowie did it too, and the Cowie bikes look good. Like that's a cool first thing on a new bike. Who had the best looking bike?
Best looking bike?
There's only a few teams like really went out there. I think like Marvin, obviously.
Yeah, that one's, you kind of have to give it to that one because that was really good. But
yeah, I mean it's the same bike as what it
like,
is. It's just
but then you like go over to JGR and you see Chad's bike.
Yeah.
And just the amount of like cool shit on that thing.
Like.
Not because it necessarily had like cool graphics for this weekend or something, but just those bikes are just so trick.
It's like the way the pegs look.
Yeah,
exactly. Gets the pipe.
Exactly.
That's a piece of art. That's not even, it's not like
that might be one of my favorites, but I think Marv's the Cowies look pretty sweet. Yeah, but I think Marv's bike looked pretty sweet with the orange backgrounds and the silver numbers.
It really did.
Shit, I think I might do that when we get home, boys.
It's time for the 120 or the 150.
I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that.
Is there anybody else you want to talk about?
Man, yeah, a little bit.
Get I think in there.
Like it would help if we had results while we're driving.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, I can't fucking.
I just want to put it out there that I feel legitimately bad for both Bowers and A-Ray. Because those two dudes.
Poor A-Ray. He looked like he smacked his head or something.
Yeah, he was down there for a minute.
Yeah.
And then Bowers, I haven't seen what happened, like what the full extent is yet, but.
What happened?
I didn't see it either, but it happened coming out of the sand on the far side.
Going out
down
of the
Monster,
sand?
like going towards Monster Alley.
Oh.
And that's such a high-speed section.
You're hauling ass right there.
Yeah. It was just, it's just a bummer because it wasn't like they had just kind of like off nights. Like they had some big get-offs, and that sucks.
I want to know what they said to each other when they crashed.
I know.
Yeah.
Like I know that there was some shit talk.
How about Marv almost losing a leg last night?
Yeah.
In Chad's back wheel. That could have been so bad.
Cool for Chad. Like
absolutely, yeah.
No, like because he like fessed up. He's like, yeah, something happened. It's like not Marv's fault. Like it was just an accident.
Yeah.
But like Chad's even like put it on Instagram. Like, yeah, that's not his fault. That's like you can't shit talk that guy. Like it was a mistake. It was a racing incident. It's not like it was a dirty pass.
Absolutely.
I was actually down there because I was shooting up for that third race, and I was down there on the start. And I told you about it last night, but Marvin was like, he beelined it straight to Chad and went and thanked him for helping him get his leg out. And the two of them really made up right then and there. Where they're pretty cool with each other.
Did you see it? Did you see that? What we're talking about? Like his legs stuck in the back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because he got sandwiched.
I just mean like Marv got just lucky in that like Chad very well could have not even noticed that it was someone's leg back there.
Do you remember when Hot Sauce got dragged?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going. That's kind of where I was going. Because when Ivan got stuck in the back of that bike, that guy, whoever that was the rider, like they didn't even really notice that he was stuck there for a sec.
Why does it seem like this keeps happening more lately than it seems like it ever did before? I can't remember like another time where
there's probably more cameras able to catch it now.
Yeah, I would say it's probably like design wise, like there's a bigger opening on the bike.
Right,
like,
the number plates are so small now.
If you go back to like the 70s, it's like a twin shock bike. Or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like a huge number plate, and there's not a lot of travel.
Yeah, these number plates are just getting smaller every year.
So I mean, there's a big area that you can like get pulled into.
I got my own leg stuck in there one time. In my own back wheel. That was crazy. But that was nice to see Marv not break his leg.
Yeah.
That was nice to see that.
That would have been rough.
That could have been really bad.
I like that Jason did so well, considering that he was on his practice bike, and it was well worn. Like, but that, you know what that shows though? Like that shows how good a race bike is or cross.
Yeah.
Well, it's even like a production bike too, because I mean that thing has some hours in it, and CeeLo probably went through it. But that
Oh,
wasn't
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
full race spec
Right,
build,
right.
like what it would be for Anaheim 1
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But like cool that they did that because
Definitely.
like Jason wasn't racing Thursday.
Right, definitely.
You know, and come out to do that. I didn't really get the chance to talk to him because he bounced so quick after the press conference, but considering how those last 2 nationals went when he came back from spending the whole summer sidelined, they were not good. You know, he only would do 1 moto, and like Buds had to be really tough because it was hot, and then Ironman was a mud bath, so
Yeah.
he just bounced. But like that's critical for him to get some confidence going into
Yeah,
this
yeah.
because he's only going to do 2 off-season races after this.
Oz X and
Australia
what?
Paris.
Paris.
And then there's going to be a lot of attention on him come Anaheim 1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that are going to say things fully informed or misinformed about his training or what he's doing and all that stuff. But, like, it's going to be interesting to see how he takes defending a championship this year. But I don't see it being an issue.
No. I mean, he had it extremely dialed this year doing it, you know?
Like he told, like
He
totally,
had that extreme, like, it was like the game plan was just consistency, and he nailed that, dude.
But I could see
Yeah.
Jason, like, if he didn't win, like, if he didn't back it up, I don't see him getting distraught and, like,
No, yeah,
wrecking
like
the rest of his career
like a head case for.
because of one thing.
Yeah, I don't see that either.
Who do you, I mean, granted, it's not a full field there last night.
Yeah.
It's still so far away, but, I mean, after one night, I think all momentum's in Eli's favor, regardless
Yeah.
of whatever happens to
Yeah,
the rest of this
definitely,
winter.
definitely.
Because that was
commanding.
those last few
that was
laps,
commanding.
regardless of what happened with Sabachi, that was really riding. You know,
Yeah.
That guy was hauling ass. You can't say he was not.
That's
Yeah.
the thing too about these last 2 years with Eli is he's been kind of the fastest guy. It's just been the start of the season that's really set him back.
Right.
You know, and aside from, you know, a few mistakes here and there towards the end as well, but you know, I think that's the big question mark is like, can he maintain that level? Because if he can, it's looking like it's going to be in his favor coming out of this last night.
like
But
if you really think about it, that's the first time that I can, like in quick reference, think that he put all the pieces of everything together at once.
Yeah.
And not really like a big mistake. I mean, the third moto could have went either way. He wasn't in the mix. And
That's
if
true,
Marvin,
yeah.
if Marvin doesn't pull off in the first lap, like that whole
Yeah, you're
argument
right.
goes out the window.
You're right,
like
yeah.
he was not perfect, but he did what he needed to do.
He was still the best rider of the night. You know,
Yeah.
he was still the best rider of the night. So
and I think the second race was really as much as he put on an awesome ride in the third one and did what he had to do to get up there. I think that just the way that he kind of commanded that second moto also said a lot as well.
yeah,
I think this was the first weekend of it being kind of public, but with Villeman training Marvin now, I think that's going to be the biggest tool for Marvin going into next year.
yeah.
Just because, like, he's not really had a huge technique coach.
Yeah.
And Villeman,
I think his last technique coach was Yannick, right?
yeah, probably.
Right?
Yeah. And so, like, to have that, yeah, it totally was.
That was
That was
yeah,
a
you're right.
while
That
ago.
was a long time ago.
So to have that, because, like, he admittedly has weaknesses, and his weaknesses were where Villeman was good.
Yeah.
Like, I could see DV really opening some things up.
Right.
And Marvin could be the guy next year without, like, being a big surprise.
Right.
It could just totally happen. It's been a long time coming. Jason could do it again. Eli could do it again. Or do it for the first time, but like, solidify all the stuff that he's worked on.
You're right.
And then Ken should be there after
Yeah.
a full rebuilding year, a full rebuilding summer.
Absolutely. I think the other thing too, with you bringing up Villeman, he's really, I think, proven himself with how well Ferrandis has done these last few months, coming out of injury and everything like that. And that's something to consider, I think, for Marvin.
And the big thing
next
on
year.
Villeman too, like, Villeman's a French guy. He's going to talk to Marvin. How Marvin's probably familiar
Right.
And then the other thing is too, like, Villemin was every French kid's guy in the 90s and early 2000s, so, like, of course Marvin's going to listen to
Yeah.
someone that
Yeah.
he looked up to. Like, of course
Definitely.
what he said worked. It's not like you brought this guy on out of nowhere. Like,
Right.
you know what he's capable of.
Right.
So that could be cool for Villemin just to be around. Like, there could be some big changes momentum-wise through the
Yeah,
whole
it
sport.
can go in 5 different directions.
Dude, because, like, look at
basically.
it yesterday. In that amateur class, Moreau, that French kid, was the top rider.
Yeah.
Volan, who has, like, a fairly Euro kind of riding style, was the top rider
Yep.
in his class, and Marvin was the fastest in qualifying,
And
too. Like,
and Joe Shimoda.
like not the typical, like,
Technique,
scrub
just,
it,
right,
bury
just
it into a corner, and
technique
then, like,
up
pin
and
it.
just technique
Yeah.
up and down.
Yeah.
It seems to be working.
So far, so good.
Seems to be working.
Okay, so yeah, I think, are we done? Or we have more to talk about? I think we're done.
I think that's
I
fine.
think we're pretty much wrapped
Okay.
up. Yeah.
Well, if you watched a full hour and 10 minutes of us kind of rambling, cool.
Thank you.
If you like it, we'll do more, I guess. We could always structure them better, but thanks for, like, making the drive faster. 'Cause
Not bad for
so-
3 guys in a car.
Go easy on us in the comments, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Because, like, Don's going to see this shit and then really grill us.
I can't wait to see what Don. Can't wait to see what you're gonna say.
All right, later.